Hey guys, I wanted to talk about passion today, but while I was preparing what I wanted to share with you guys, I remembered that I did a talk at Isabela State University during their leadership caravan. The topic was purpose and passion, but in that talk I focused more on purpose, which I find more relevant. I'll start off by saying much of who I am is shaped by the values that we have as a family, and I think that's true for everyone naman. Parang the values that you have now started or were formed initially with the values that you had as a family, and then when you grew up, syempre, so the values were tested. And in my case, I grew up hearing this verse a lot, especially from my dad, the verse 1 Timothy 4:12, which is, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech and conduct, in faith, in love, and in purity." It talks so much about leadership and being an example to the people around you. And that's something I brought with me moving forward from elementary, high school, and even up to college, and even after that. I won't delve into the details na from elementary till high school, but yung from high school na lang, I was very shy. Although I was active in school, I was involved in a lot of the activities we had in school. I was very shy. People knew of my personality na reserved. I was very quiet also. Hindi ako masyadong lumalabas, nag-hangout. I would always prefer to stay home. And when I got into college, that's something that I wanted to change. Fresh out of high school, parang you wanted a different personality when you... I don't know, ako lang ba yun? So when I went to college, I wanted a different personality. So I tried becoming yung mas involved and mas loud ba, in a sense. So I tried. My way of doing that was by joining the different organizations. I remember signing up for a lot of the RSOs, or the registered student organizations in our school. Ang nangyayari is I would just join the orientation, and then the following meetings I wouldn't show up anymore because masyadong maraming commitments pala yun. So I ended up staying with just a few of the organizations, which were the required ones, like the business org, the scholars org, and Every Nation Campus. I remember thinking na my goal for college na lang was to just stay in those three orgs, be active as a student assistant because I was helping out in the business faculty, and graduate with honors. So I was aiming for summa cum laude. So in my mind, I was pretty set now with college with just those plans until someone asked me to join the student council. Hello, Kian Ramos. But I won't touch so much into that story. I'll probably reserve that for another video. Long story short, I ended up becoming vice president of the student council. I enjoyed a lot during my term that the following year I decided to run for presidency naman, and I won the elections and I got the position. I was then the student council president. I was also the volleyball captain and the small group leader for Every Nation Campus. Syempre, with all of that, I had to balance my efforts also. God's grace, I was able to graduate pa rin, and I was able to get that goal of summa cum laude when I graduated. Going back to the verse that I mentioned earlier, yung "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young." Because of my college experiences, nagkaroon ng meaning yung verse na yun. And to me, yung naging meaning ng verse na yun is being young and educated does not only give us prestige, but more importantly, a responsibility to lead and be an example to the next generation. To me, moving forward, I think that was such a formative 4 or 5 years of college na yung character ko na-mold talaga in those times. I would have liked to end the story there na kasi parang, ang galing naman, he graduated summa cum laude, he was also the president of the council, he had so many things, he has a bright future ahead. But that would paint a very incomplete picture of what my story really is. So let me dive into the deeper story. The topic of leadership, purpose, and passion are very personal because I had to learn a lot along the way. And one of them is to understand that there's life beyond leadership. What do I mean by this? Everyone is a leader. We all know that. I mean, people watch what you do, people listen or hear what you say, people follow your example with the things that you post even. And we all have our own spheres of influence, meaning everyone is a leader. There's always someone younger than you, or basta nakikita ka ng mga tao, and so whatever you do, whatever you say, people can follow you. Yun naman yung leadership, may someone following the leader. When I say there's life beyond leadership, I mean there's life beyond the title. That's why we always hear people saying, and we always hear this, leadership is not a title, it's not a position. It's not bad that you have these leadership positions, but when you do, use it to serve. Being in a position of leadership can be a dangerous place if your life revolves around that. position or that title. It's a dangerous thing, especially when it consumes you and when it takes up your identity already. So here's the deeper part of my story. Growing up, I was always on the search for significance, approval, meaning, and so after college, I tried to do just that because I was on the search nga. So I tried to do a lot of things. So I got involved with so many more things. So I got involved with like handling talks for universities, high school to college. I got involved with business leadership programs where I would facilitate and help students, and these are top students from all over the Philippines. I'd meet CEOs of businesses here, top management. I was also involved with the dance community. I was a dance instructor then. I also volunteered as part of the music ministry. And one of the things that I want to highlight is my first corporate job. I got a job as a management trainee in a universal bank here in the Philippines. That to me was, I would say, one of the best starting jobs if you were gonna start in the corporate world. I mean, I feel like you were getting paid high for a fresh grad. So syempre nag-guess na rin ako dun. I mean, it was God opening doors naman. So the reason why I share that part with you is because as a management trainee, we would meet with the CEO every month, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the sessions that we had with him, he talked about something close to my heart, which was my search for meaning and search for purpose. And he talked about higher purpose. At the time, he said words along the lines of, if your higher purpose is not inside the bank, you can go, you can leave. So ako, syempre, hala, is he telling me to leave na? So I decided then, after much prayer and syempre consultation with parents also, and a lot of my mentors, and I prayed a lot about it, I decided to leave. And I decided to pursue something more meaningful to me at the time. After having resigned, I went into shorter mission trips to South Korea. I went to Cambodia after. I stayed there for 3 months. I helped out on the church there, meeting students also in universities, talking to them about leadership, integrity, faith, and excellence. And that to me was fulfilling. If you notice, my story mostly revolved around awards, titles, possessions, money, even people. And if you think about it, all these things are temporary. Awards, graduate summa cum laude. After that, what do you do now? Titles, student council president back then. Now what? Possessions, buy something new. Where is it now? Money, earning a lot back then. Where is it now? People, close friends before. Where are they now? My point is, all these things are temporary, and if these things already form part of your identity, meaning your identity is tied to all these temporary things, if anything happens to these temporary things, you lose your identity, you lose your purpose. You feel purposeless. Why? Because your purpose is rooted on your identity. In other words, your identity dictates your purpose. So who you are, and more importantly, whose you are, dictates who you're meant to be and where you're meant to go. I remember this illustration from one of the talks that I attended. Paperclip. You have so many uses for the paperclip. You can use it for, well, of course, to bind papers together. You can use it as a lockpick. You can use it, I don't know, to decorate stuff. You can use it to, well, for something this big, diba? You can use it also. Parang pwede na pang hanger ito eh. The paperclip was invented by someone for a specific purpose, which is to bind papers together. And the only one who can dictate that purpose is the one who made it. So the same thing with us, the only one who can dictate our purpose is the one who made us. Ako, I believe in God, so He's the only one who can dictate my purpose. I like how one of my friends put it. He said, pag nakilala mo kung sino ka talaga, malalaman mo kung saan ka papunta. It's funny because you can form two questions with what I just said. Sino ka talaga and saan ka papunta? You'll only be able to answer the second question, na saan ka papunta, if you're able to answer sino ka talaga. Who you are, and more importantly, whose you are, dictates who you're meant to be and where you're meant to go. So what you're meant to do with life, what passions you'll pursue. Try answering those questions. Before talking about passion, I think it's nice to start with the questions, who are you? And more importantly, whose are you? If you're able to answer that question, let's talk about passion.